Hadjar told us what the gentle reminder was that Helmut Marko gave him when he told Hadjar that he would be driving for the Red Bull F1 team. Russell gave his input on the Norris-Piastri battle, and Leclerc talked about how social media has impacted him. Here is part one of the interesting things that we learned from the Media Day F1 drivers press conference in Abu Dhabi. Starting with Leclerc, he said that Ferrari still don't really understand what went wrong in Qatar, but they have been able to identify what they didn't test and perhaps should have done. Also, he said that he is satisfied with his own personal performance, but he's not satisfied with the overall performance of the Ferrari F1 team. He said that the team have reacted well, but they didn't bring many upgrades, which was a massive hindrance, but they didn't do that because they are so focused on the 2026 F1 season. Moving on to Hadjar, he found out that he was driving for Red Bull during the Qatar race weekend, but at the same time, during that conversation, Helmut Marko made it very clear that he is driving for the Red Bull F1 team, so he is expected to deliver, although he won't have any expectations for next year because he is starting from scratch. And reflecting on his new teammate, he finds it very impressive that after 4 world champions, Verstappen is still very hungry, and also he gets very mad when things don't go his way because he really wants to win. And then there was Russell. In response to a question about Norris and Piastri, he said that it would not be reasonable or acceptable to ask a driver who is still in contention for the championship to move over for his teammate during the last race of a season. Furthermore, he was asked about what was discussed during the racing guidelines meeting that they had last week. He said that it was agreed that nothing would change in the guidelines for the rest of the season because they did ask for consistency, so if they change it now, that would be unfair. But the general consensus that came out of the meeting is that guidelines should simply be guidelines. Also, the drivers want the best stewards who have the best racing knowledge so they can judge a situation based on their experience. And during that meeting, they were reflecting on incidents, and when they did this, all of the drivers agreed on the same penalty, regardless of what the guidelines said. Finally are the questions that all of the drivers gave very similar responses to. They all think Lando's going to win, but to varying degrees of certainty. And reflecting on the hate that Antonelli got after the Qatar race weekend, they all thought it was unacceptable. Hadjar went on to say that the people online are idiots, and the only reason why they comment what they do is because they have never drove in their life. Moreover, Leclerc said during his first or second year in F1, it would make things a lot more difficult when he would go online and see what people were saying about him on social media.